Hello everyone, my name of course is Resonant and welcome back to another video. Now we have some new news about Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. This is a very exciting news that has actually literally just been released about 2 minutes ago, and I got straight on to making a video. I'm going to try and get this out as soon as possible for you guys that haven't actually seen the dev blog already. And yes, it is a new dev blog. This is dev blog 15 that has actually been released on the Mount & Blade Bannerlord website. If you're not in the Bannerlord group, then I definitely suggest you go in that. There'll be a link to it in the description, so you can go and join that. And from there, you'll be able to get all the latest news on stuff. Also, join my Steam group if you haven't already. Link down in the description to that. I post on that every single time I upload a video, so you'll get notification as soon as a video is uploaded. But this dev blog is on quests. Now, quests weren't a massive part of Mount & Blade Warband, or at least especially for me. In Mount & Blade Warband, I normally went down the sort of going around trying to take over the whole place kind of way. I didn't really try and work at my relations too much, and a lot of other people I've spoken to haven't also done that. They've also played it like me. But I think Bannerlord, what they're trying to get is more ways to play the game. You're going to have to get your relations up with other NPCs, with other people, to try and basically expand the way that you play Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, and you will actually have a higher chance of being successful in the world of Carl Radia. So the new dev blog is on quests, and also the relationships you can have with other NPCs and AI within the game Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. They want to use quests to encourage players to interact with the sandbox, and the way that this will happen is it will give the players more choice within their gameplay. They will be able to define what they do in their game, how they go about this, and what the outcomes will be in the end. For example, if you want to go a more diplomatic route, you can do that by getting relations with certain NPCs. If you want to have a more military side to it, you can also do that by deciding how you do your quests and where you form relationships, may it be in a very military force type NPC, or a diplomatic force, or somewhere in between. A bit like in Warband, completing quests for different NPCs will increase your relationship with that character. But from what I've read about in the new game, Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord are trying to make it more individual to certain characters. For example, in Warband you had a lot of relations between a whole faction, but there was also relations between certain different smaller NPCs like an individual. But it didn't have a massive effect unless you were asking a favour. I think what they want to try and do, or is what I hope they're trying to do in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, is if you have, let's say, a negative relationship with one individual person, if they're low down, maybe there's not much they can do. But if they're higher up in power, maybe they're going to wage war on you, maybe they're going to wage war on people like your allies, or maybe they're going to try and turn other people against you. That would be very interesting to see. For an example of this, when you go into a town, you can recruit soldiers. Now, Mount & Blade Warband, as we know, you go in and you click the button, recruit some soldiers. Either you'll be able to recruit them or you won't. A lot of mods have added things in, such as you'll be able to recruit more or less depending on your relationship with that town, or whether you actually own it or not. Depends how many troops you can actually recruit, or not even recruit any at all. And this is a lot like what it's going to be in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Instead of simply receiving a number of local recruits, the town's NPC will act as your recruiting agents. For example, you're not going to be able to just straight away buy troops. You're not going to be able to go and find whoever you want and ask them to join. You're going to have relationships with the NPCs within this town, within this city, and they will be your troop suppliers or your so-called recruiters. So the higher your relationship with this specific NPC, the more likely you're going to be able to get new soldiers, and the greater the number the soldiers are more likely to be. If you want the ability to recruit a large amount of soldiers from one certain place, you're going to want to work at getting your relationship up with a certain NPC or a few NPCs within that town or city, and then that will be like your main hub of recruiting soldiers. So for example, if you go to a region of the map that you have not actually been to, or discovered very little of it, you won't have much relationships with the NPCs within that town, meaning you're not going to be able to recruit as many troops on the battlefield or within the village. I really like this implementation into the game, as it just really adds reason to complete quests. There wasn't too much of a reason in Mount & Blade Warband to actually complete quests for all the people. There was, some sort of relationships that you can gain or lose, but it didn't have a massive effect on the actual gameplay itself. So the fact that they're adding this into Bannerlord, which it will actually affect the amount of troops you'll be able to play on the battlefield. No matter if you're having a diplomatic or a military standpoint in the game, you're going to have good relationships everywhere on the map you can, or as many places as possible, in order to gain the most troops, the most advantages, and the most resources you can in order to gain control of Calradia. Now, something new and something very exciting and different that they're going to be adding Mount & Blade Bannerlord is the fact that the majority of the quests you'll be able to play will not have one outcome, but multiple potential outcomes. Comparing this to Mount & Blade Warband, you had quests such as going and handing a letter to someone that will increase your renown or increase your relationships with them, and that was pretty much it. You might gain a bit of money as well. You might go and find someone, you'll go and hunt them down and kill them, or steal their stuff. Now, that's interesting and all, but it gets a little bit repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over again, and Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord are trying to change this somewhat. The way they're doing this is by creating multiple outcomes for the same task. For an example they've actually added in this blog is that if you go into a town, we have seen in some of the gameplay actually that they showed a long time ago, which should be in the background at the moment. There'll be a lot of Bannerlord gameplay up there at the moment. But when you go into a town, you'll be able to meet different characters, different NPCs. One of the tasks you may be given is they'll ask you to clear out some thugs or gang members who are in the town, maybe behind a back street, maybe behind some houses, but they are harassing the troops there, maybe they are taxating an area, and they're going to be asked for you to clear them out. Now, when you finally meet this gang, you're going to have to find them, and once you've found them, you're going to have a few options. Now, the gang are obviously, maybe they're going to attack you straight away, or maybe they're going to give you a counter offer. Now, this is a very exciting thing that we've actually been told that is definitely going to be in the game, where you'll be able to complete the quest, get rid of the thugs, maybe get some gold, and go back to your quest giver, complete the quest in an all-round thing, which is basically the majority of what you're probably going to want to do in order to gain the most respect with NPCs, I would think. But maybe you want to go down a different route. Maybe you don't want to do the conventional go complete a quest for someone and just go back to them. Maybe you want to get money out of the gang and you want to question their authority, and then you're going to want to steal things from them if you have enough troops of your own and enough renown that maybe they'll listen to you. Or maybe you're even going to have to just get as much money out of them as possible, extort them, and keep the money for yourself. Now, there's an even better thing that you might be able to do. If you want to go down the sort of thuggish route yourself, you want to be a bit of a rebel, you can even clear out these thugs, and now instead of going back to your quest giver and giving the control back to the people that own that area of the town from the thugs, you can actually put your own troops, your own men, in that certain area of the city or town, and you can begin your criminal operation. Now, by using the words criminal operation, could that mean that you'll be able to taxate a certain area? Meaning you'll be able to gain money from it even though you're not really supposed to? But of course, doing that is probably going to decrease your relationships with the people that own that city or town. This is all very interesting things which I really am glad that they've added in, since it adds so much potential and so much different options that you can actually use in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, by offering these new different quests, there is so many more options for players to experience. It gives you the option to go down many different routes in the game and will just make it even more playable. Having the option to define your relationships with different characters through the story and sort of make up your own story as you go along. You can choose which NPCs that you want to be friends with, you can choose which NPCs that you want to go against. You can choose whether you're going to be a noble, humble, loyal soldier. You're going to clear out thugs, you're going to get rid of bandits, and you're going to give the towns and the cities back to the people that they were before. Or maybe you're going to be one of those thugs. Maybe you're going to be a bit of a rebel in the game. You're going to take control of certain areas, taxate them, get money, extort the poor, and that way you'll be able to become richer as a person, but that may have negative effects if you are caught. Maybe then you'll lose relationships with certain places, which is going to affect your later game. I love how much options they are giving to the player in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, and it's going to really make this game something very, very different. We have seen a lot in these dev blogs how different they're trying to make it from Warband, but keep it as the very well-known Mount & Blade franchise that we all know and love. I can't wait for a new devlog coming up. Hopefully we'll see one very, very soon. Maybe some new gameplay, maybe even some new exciting information, and if we're lucky, some sort of hint or a release date, but we won't keep our hopes up just yet. But other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This has sort of been a brief video on just this new dev blog, trying to explain it as much as possible and putting my input into it. There'll be a link down to the dev blog in the description if you guys want to go and check it out yourself. But other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like it if you did, you know what to do if you didn't. But subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for lots of news on Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, as you probably expected from this video. I don't know when it's going to go up. I'm going to try and put it up as soon as possible, but straight after the new dev blog was released. So I'm going to try and get as much information out to you as possible. But other than that, guys, I will see you in the next one.